This is Rooted Cosmic Soul, Season 2 of Broom Closet Recordings, healing the patriarchy within, and the here and the there, offering rememberings in times of chaos, confusion, love, and belonging. I am Deidre, your sometimes reluctant but always growing guide. In this season, I'll be sharing channeled and conjured episodes related to healing the patriarchy within. There's a link in the description to the digital book titled the same. If you haven't already, please subscribe and like. This will help me grow the channel and therefore grow my ability to continue these offerings with dedicated focus. I deeply appreciate you being here.
Hello, folks. Welcome. So I have been getting particular messages, and if you've been following my offerings here on YouTube, this will be familiar. I want to do a sort of recap, also make some connections, because that's what this current message that has been coming in to share requires, I think, to kind of be understood. This is a message as I always say, anyone who gets anything out of this, beautiful. And also, I do believe that this is a message to be in support of folks who do identify in some way or another as rooted cosmic souls. I think that title, I've been working on trying to figure out how to share an offering that goes a little bit more into that, because I've had a couple of questions around it. And I think that there's more one way to be a rooted cosmic soul, right? We're a human species that's very diverse. And within that categorization, identification, like, it's very fluid. It's not meant to mimic what the construct does. When we identify within the construct, it boxes us. And I say all that to say that what I'm about to share might not make sense to most folks, and that's okay. I think that it's going to make most sense for folks who do identify in some way, shape, or form within their heart with this term of rooted cosmic soul that I've been sharing for 2 years now. In particular, or I don't even know if it's in particular, like specifically within that idea of being a rooted cosmic soul, it's for folks who identify as empaths, feelers, those who heal through their feelings, through compassion and empathy, through their own healing process. That those who have been that part of the healing journey has included a deepening of empathy, because your healing journey was quite deep and transformative. Now, I think that there are other realms of rooted cosmic souls. There's root workers, herb workers, elementals. And I think that we all hold different parts and pieces to the puzzle. And so this is going to speak to those folks as well. And also, if you do identify as an empath, I would really settle in and pay attention to what's happening in your body as I say the things that I'm about to share. My recent offerings have been circling around and swirling within the imaginings of paradigm shifts, timeline shifts in this time, in this moment, in the spiral of time that we find ourselves in. And especially, I've been getting a lot of messages around storytelling and the ways in which storytelling within our current reality and construct weaves that reality, creates that reality. So if you watch the timeline series, it was a 3-part offering. First was around perception. So just offering some ideas about how stories influence and dictate our perception of reality. The second one was around deception. And that is how the construct knows that stories create our perception of reality. And so it has used that truth as a means to deceive us about what is possible, about who we are, about how we move. It has used it to create definitions, beliefs, and behaviors for the human species that do not work for most of us, but they've used the stories to deceive us to believe that the reason it doesn't work is just that we're not good enough. We're not worthy. We're not perfect enough. We're not moving fast enough, like all these lies. Now, the third one was creation. But before I get to the third one, about perception and deception. This is going to be I think the first time I've mentioned this in a video. But I want to drill into perception and deception a little bit so that the rest of this can make sense. When I'm talking about stories that are currently creating our perception of reality, stories that create deception about what is possible for our reality, I'm talking about three specific forces or energies. The first one, patriarchy. Anyone who knows I've written a book recently knows that that wouldn't be surprising, right? I'm all about healing the patriarchy within. And number one, in terms of the forces that are using stories to deceive us and to create a perception of reality that's harmful, is patriarchy. And a very high level forest for the trees definition is patriarchy is a global war against women and girls. And that has been going on for millennia, and it is infused in all of us. It does not matter what identity, what gender identity you hold, believe in, don't hold, don't believe in. It is woven into our perceptions of reality to engage with what we name as feminine or woman in a way of control and annihilate. Now, it's harsh when I say it like that, but it is what it is, right? And so again, I'm going to keep going because this is for folks who know it already. I'm just pulling it together. The second area is the force is whiteness. Now, if you're a white person, or you love white people, and you just heard me say white people when I say whiteness, I want you to slow down, take a breath, and understand. I did not say white people. I said whiteness. I have moved away from even using the term white supremacy when talking about this particular force, because in my work, which I've been doing for decades now, I know that when I say white supremacy, for most people, the way that the construct has controlled the definitions, beliefs, and behaviors of us, we go into this idea that white supremacy equals white people, and that only white people can move in white supremacy. Now, white people can move in white supremacy. I also move from an understanding that just like patriarchy, white supremacy is woven so deeply into our perception and deception of reality that it is in all of us. But that's really difficult for many different people across cultures to even begin to hold because of their trauma. Totally understand that. So I use the term whiteness, and I'm again, high level forest for the trees. I see it as a global ideology to other and divide the human species, right? Also really grow false notions of inferiority and superiority. And that impacts our relationship to ourselves, our relationship to others, and our relationship to Earth. Whiteness is something that it's a global epidemic. It is something that is within all of us because of the reality we're living in of colonialism, imperialism. And that's been going on for quite a while. Doesn't mean any of us are bad. Even that's hard for me to say because I'm seeing things that occur that feel really bad. But I'm saying that in terms of to help folks want to step into the healing, because if you fall to the shame, you won't do the healing. So I'm saying it's not bad because I'm trying to help folks, but moving in inferiority and superiority is not healthy. Let's say it that way. The third area is capitalism, and I'm naming that forest for the trees. A global system designed to create imbalance and false notions based on greed and scarcity. So that when you hear me say the word construct, and I'm probably gonna say it because I'm about to channel, I don't really know what's gonna come out of my mouth. I mean, I know what I want to talk about, but I didn't write a script right now. I'm going through something. You see me looking down. I'm going through something because I want to give you a foundation to be able to take in what I'm about to say, right? So that perception and deception creates the construct of reality that we are experiencing right now. That is, you know, many of us are experiencing the full gamut of the human experience, along the polarities of joy and sorrow. And then some folks are on one end of the polarity, some folks are on the other, some folks are moving back and forth. But that reality of that polarity, joy and sorrow, is experienced within patriarchy, whiteness, and capitalism. Now, my offerings have also been talking about shifts, paradigm shifts, timeline shifts, and this concept, this idea that for those of us in a spiritual awakening, on a spiritual journey, we're hearing that often, and a lot of people have a lot of different thoughts, imaginings about it. I'm going to give you some of my own. Now, remember, in the story piece, that there was a third, right? There was perception, deception, and the third was creation. And that was about getting us to really think about this idea that if the construct is creating stories to control our perception and to create a deceiving understanding of who we are, false notions of who we are, what we're capable of, there's also the other side of that, of creation. Then therefore we can create our own stories that then generate a different perception of reality. Now, housed under creation are the ideas of healing, unlearning, and shifting, right? It's the idea of, for those of us, some folks, again, this is why I say this is for empaths, feelers, for certain people on a very long spectrum of rooted cosmic souls, because there are some people who their experience here is that they don't necessarily need to go through a particular journey to unlearn. Like, for whatever reason, I can't necessarily speak too much to that because that's not my experience, but I know possibilities exist. And I've heard people talk about it, that honestly, I've heard them talk about it and I've poo-pooed it. I'm just like, that's wild, that's crazy. I've also labeled it as problematic, and I labeled it as problematic out of envy. And once I did the healing and kind of saw like, oh, well, that's their experience and everyone has their own path. My experience and other empaths and healers who chose to be here through a soul that designed a path that required deep, deep healing from deep, deep wounds in this lifetime and past lifetimes, there is a process that we have to go through to unlearn the construct, the deception, and the false perceptions given to us, to get to a point where we are creating our own stories. So that's to start from where we are. We're in the Western realm. We're in a world where if you can't see it, it doesn't exist. And so we have to meet ourselves where we are, and start doing the work to see the construct. And then understanding that we are also sensing beings, that there's a lot that exists that cannot be seen by the human eyes. And so it starts moving into remembering the sense of self, the fact that we are both matter and ether. I'm going to get more to that in a moment. So that we see it with the eyes the construct has given us, we sense it with the heart our soul has given us. We can shift it by unlearning, by seeing it, by seeing the deception, writing a new code, writing a new story. That's the creation piece. And so the creation piece comes when we are imagining, creating, and fostering from our whole balanced selves. The construct has us completely and utterly imbalanced, right? So that's why we have to unlearn what the construct has been giving us. And again, that is the crux I think many of us have been in, and in particular in 2025, a lot of the planetary energy, the cosmic energy, the soul's path that we have been offered in 2025 is the energy to see it, to sense it, and to shift it. I believe that shift came. Did you see how the light just came in just then? I said that. I wonder if it's going to come up in the recording. That was powerful. Okay. It's the see, sense, and shift it. Bringing things into the light, like opening up our beautiful shadow inner womb parts for the healing it desires, and bringing it up into the light so that we can see the full gamut of choices and possibilities before us. And so I believe that in 2025, that's the path that Rooted Cosmic Souls have been on. And this is what brings me back to this idea of shifting, this idea of paradigm shift or timeline shift. I believe it has occurred. I think it was, time is a lie, right? So I was about to say it recently occurred. I think in our perception, for some of us, it recently occurred. Those of us who are following this idea of the planets being in retrograde, like all of 2025, all of the things that are happening external to us in terms of the construct, capitalism, white supremacy, patriarchy, crumbling the world, right? Crumbling the society that it has built, that is told us to believe in, that it'll bring us liberation, freedom, blah, blah, blah. It is crumbling. And then also this moving, this dying and rebirthing over and over again within the planetary movements and the energies we're experiencing in our awakening journeys, our healing journeys, has been occurring. And I think when summer came around, and particularly Chiron, this is why I'm saying for people who identify as empaths or deep feelers, the Chiron retrograde was a turning point and was what initiated the shift, the perception of a shift for us. Now, you may be saying, like, but I thought we were going to go to New Earth. I thought that, I thought the children wouldn't be starving anymore. Like elderly would have care, that fascism will go away. And perhaps in some reality, that's the shift. All things are possible, right? In this reality that I'm in, that my soul came into, around that is that we are both in spirit and in body and connected to Earth in this I was gonna say density. I don't know why that popped in my head, but in this paradigm, the shift occurred for us empaths, knowing empaths, but also unknowing empaths, unknowing feelers. The thing is that it was internal. It was not an external shift, because the construct, so I know that for some of us, those of us who are steeped in any religions that have this idea of a return of a powerful force, God, Jesus, whatever, and that in that return, we would basically like a rapture, right? So I know it in that context because I was raised in a Christian cult, and this idea of, do all the work that your pastor says, and the pastor is the voice of God. And in doing that, when Jesus returns, which is the equivalent of a paradigm shift, you just would be sucked away into heaven. And so those of us, even if you're not a practicing Christian, but you, or whatever other religion might have a similar story, it's really important to dissect that and understand that it doesn't necessarily happen that way. The shift wasn't going to be a new earth in terms of taking you to this magical fantasy utopia. The shift was internal, because this experience is not just of the cosmos. It's not just of your divinity, your third eye, your inner realm. It is of the body as well. It is here. This is the gift. We are spirits with the gift of embodiment. And this gift, this species gift, is connected to this earth now. The shift is that people are sensing that reality. They're sensing or that story, or I don't even actually know the word, but I'm watching. I think that for me, the experience of watching all of a sudden watching rabbis go into the street and block the streets in front of Israeli consulates to say no more. I also was told that this kind of stuff has been happening. It's just the media doesn't cover it, again, because it only feeds us the stories it wants us to feed. So I am aware of that. But I think the fact that we are getting the stories, that we are hearing that the very people who were being told to hate because they're killing a country, they're committing genocide, are coming out into the public to say no more. That's the shift. Some people are going to be like, well, it's not enough. Okay, what do you want to do with that? Some people are going to be pacified by that being enough. What do you want to do with that? Because it is that your soul's call to have just enough? I don't know. But for those of us who know, no, this is the long haul, that the shift occurred, and that shift occurring was meant to be helpful to us to continue to carry on, to continue to know we are not the ones who are off our rocker, right? That as much as the construct, I struggle almost daily with our current construct because I don't get it. I don't understand it. It's such a foreign way of being and living. I'm constantly reminded, like, I'm such a deep empath that the universe does. My soul constantly puts me in situations where humans will love on me. My soul put me in a situation where I have one of the most loving spirit dogs one could ever want. And I know my spirit did that because I'm such a deep empath and I feel the harm, the hurt, the pain. That if I didn't also have this here, the hopelessness that this construct is feeding would just take over. And it is it's not easy, folks. I know that. So the shift that I want to highlight, because I went through it, and I want other folks who maybe you went through it and you want some confirmation. This is why I'm offering this video today. Or I also know that words plant seeds and words are activators. That's also what's happening. The shift is that it's activating connections between us. For some of us, it's going to be in the 3D. You're going to meet new people and all that kind of stuff. And I'm already experiencing that as well. And then also it's in the 5D, which in my experience is in dreams. But the 5D can mean multiple things to different people. You're getting spirit visits, you're getting animal visits, you're seeing things like, you have to unfold it, unpack it for yourself. But that's the part of knowing that our souls, our higher selves created this path, knowing that since time is a lie, we knew this moment would come. And because all things are happening at one time. And it's almost like a couple of days, maybe a week ago, I had to release a lot of anger and grief in my soul for choosing this path. And then today I'm like, I see it in a larger light because I stepped into that angst. It's still here. I still don't know what's going on in the world. I don't understand it. I'm struggling to survive like everybody, like most other people. But there's something that opens up every time I allow myself to be in the body and the emotions that it holds, and to move through that, through the ether of me, through the dark womb, the sacral chakra, all of my chakras, like using all of the unseen energy that is within this human body, this gift that the construct has lied to us and has stolen so much. Like, well, I want to say stolen in terms of stolen our memories. It cannot steal our power within, because that can't be stolen. It is housed in here, but it has stolen our knowledge and our memory of it. The witch hunts were not just random, right? It was the witch hunts and its equivalents globally about stamping out our knowledge of our relationship to ourselves, to each other, to the earth, was so that the stories of deception and false perception could run and run amok. They are. So I do believe that the rooted cosmic souls are, I just channeled all of that. So take that for what it is. I want to close out because I don't know how long I've been talking and I don't want this to be too long. Some of my awakening and my shift was, I've been really afraid to use the term rooted cosmic soul, to really talk about what I'm thinking about when it comes to this connection, this soul family that have known exists, but I've been in the fear of appearing crazy. I've been in the fear of being a cult leader. And that's because I was raised in a Christian cult. And a really good friend of mine, shout out to Maureen, helped me with a really clear distinction of, like, cult leaders do what they do to be really self-serving, to acquire wealth, materialism, love, like controlling love, to be very controlling. Teachers, healers, fellow journeyers do it because it is about the collective growing, learning, expanding. And so that was a good shift for me, to know that I don't have to be afraid. If you look at, Rooted Cosmic Soul, I originally started it as a way to help people who have no idea, who have their memories, their traditions have been stolen, to explore what does it mean to create a spiritual practice. And so those conversations I'm 100% open to, as part of sharing with each other or sharing with the collective, but not for you to follow me. I think that's, where my confusion with YouTube has been, around this idea of, like, trying to get subscribers, but don't really want subscribers, right? Trying to get views, but don't really want views. It's all really confusing. But anyway, I believe rooted cosmic souls, those of us who know we came here for a reason. We have souls. There's a soul's path, that our souls we are spirits having an embodied experience. It is a gift, and it is intimately connected to the earth and to each other, that we are being called to generate. That's a shift, to generate new imagining, new creations, new ways to foster from a balanced human state. And that, requires healing the construct within. Healing. And for those folks who need a little bit of help, like, that's why Spirit gave me Healing the Patriarchy Within as an offering to the collective, of ways to specifically heal patriarchy. But whiteness and capitalism is in there because I believe patriarchy is the root, and these other things are its children. So remember that the construct has many definitions, beliefs, and behaviors, to make us think nothing has changed with the shift that has occurred in the perception of many of us. But we're going to continue to get stories that make it seem like nothing has changed, humans still suck, the world is coming to an end, and it is, and that is going to mean different things to different people. I know that in order for the new stories that we want to birth, the old stories must die. I don't know exactly what that means. The question is, for rooted cosmic souls, when we know that this construct is crumbling. It is crumbling. It's eating itself already. Like, clearly eating itself already globally. So it's going to fall. It will be in ashes, whether our lifetime or another lifetime. For rooted cosmic souls, our journey with this shift of awakening that we have is to get clear for ourselves. What part do we want to play in that which is birthed, that which new rises from the ash of the death of the old? And I believe that requires a relationship that we have with ourselves in clearing out the old construct, so that we can deepen a love-based, divine feminine anchored understanding of who our species is, who we are as individuals and in the collective, so our relationship to each other, and greater clarity that is intimately connected to the earth. And that's Rooted Cosmic Soul. So I don't know how long I've been talking. I don't even know if what I just said is clear, but that's the offering. I have so many other things to do. I'm in the process of moving, and I could not even fathom how to move through my checklist without making this video, because my spirit was like, video time, video time. It also wants to do a reading, so I don't know how much packing I'm going to get done. But I'm going to trust. I'm going to trust. I'm going to trust. I'm going to trust that I'm walking my path. I'm going to trust that you're walking your path, and that these paths are together, imagining, co-imagining, co-creating, and co-fostering a new story for a different reality that is housed in our balanced sense of humans and who we are to each other, and who we are with Earth. Thanks for taking that ride with me. I would love to hear from folks about how any of this lands, whether that's in the comments or just directly to me. You can reach me at rootedcosmicsoul@gmail.com. You can also reach me through my website, djbarber.com. There's a contact me page, or here. I just would love, how does this land? Reach out, soul family. Take care of yourselves out there. I love you. Unfettered and infinite love and gratitude.
This is Rooted Cosmic Soul, Season 2, Healing the Patriarchy Within, a Broom Closet recording, offered with infinite love and gratitude. Thank you for watching, listening, co-creating the energy necessary for this time and space to exist. My energy stays here. Your energy stays there. Return when your spirit moves you to do so. Same Bruja time. Same Bruja channel.